Have you ever unlocked your phone and felt like it was just there? Like it was doing its job but not really connecting with you? Now imagine the complete opposite. Imagine picking up your Galaxy device tomorrow morning, tapping the screen, and suddenly realizing something feels different, smoother, calmer, warmer. Almost like the phone already knows what you want before you even move your finger. That's the sensation One UI 8.5 gives you the moment it comes alive. It doesn't try to overwhelm you with loud animations or dramatic redesigns. Instead, it gently melts into the way you naturally use your phone, creating an experience that feels surprisingly human. The moment the lock screen fades in, you know something has changed. The clock moves with a soft floating effect, notifications rise gently instead of snapping harshly into place, and the background blur feels like frosted glass that reacts to your wallpaper. It's subtle but incredibly satisfying. Even the fingerprint unlock animation feels more mature, like it's been slowed down by just a fraction of a second to make everything look premium and controlled rather than rushed. One UI 8.5 doesn't want to be fast, it wants to be smooth, and it succeeds beautifully. Then you land on the home screen. And that's where the real magic begins. The icons aren't flat anymore. They have depth, softness, and a cushion-like look that makes them feel almost touchable. Samsung calls them fluffy icons, but the experience is more emotional than it sounds. They give the entire UI a friendly personality. Instead of looking like tiny shapes on a display, they look like little tiles with gentle shadows floating above the glass. It's a warm and comforting style that instantly makes your phone feel refreshed without being dramatic. Swipe through your home pages and the movement feels buttery, almost liquid-like. Widgets don't just sit there, they adapt, adjust, breathe. The weather widget changes tone depending on the atmosphere outside. If it's cloudy, it darkens slightly. If it's sunny, it glows with subtle warmth. The clock widget shifts shades to match your wallpaper's color palette. The animations connecting different gestures feel so unified that it almost feels like Samsung rewrote the entire animation engine just for this update. But the quick panel is where you suddenly realize how much Samsung has rethought small things. The blurring effect is richer, colors are more refined, toggles open with a gentle fade instead of snapping, and then you notice something new, the adaptive tile behavior. One UI 8.5 quietly studies the toggles you use frequently. If you're always turning on hotspot or Bluetooth, those tiles automatically expand to show live information so you don't have to dive inside settings. Meanwhile, unused toggles shrink into neat icons that stay out of your way. It's a simple idea, but it makes daily usage unbelievably efficient. Even the little things, the tiny things you usually don't care about, feel upgraded. Pulling down the notification shade has a new elasticity. Swiping a notification away feels softer, almost like it's gliding into the background instead of vanishing instantly. The volume slider appears from the side with a very gentle slide animation that makes controlling sound more satisfying than ever. All these micro interactions join together to create an experience that feels polished in a way One UI has never felt before. And then you start opening apps. This is where you feel the weight of Samsung's deeper optimizations. One UI 8.5 is noticeably faster. Apps open with almost zero delay. Transitions between apps are fluid, skipping all the old jerky motions. It feels like the OS now anticipates your gesture before your finger even finishes moving. You swipe up to go home, and the animation meets your finger perfectly. You swipe right to go back, and it responds instantly with no lag, no stuttering, nothing. It's so smooth that you might catch yourself swiping around the UI just because it feels nice. At this point, you start noticing the intelligence hidden underneath everything. One UI 8.5 isn't just moving smoothly, it's thinking. It quietly studies your routine. If you always open Instagram at night, the system preloads it before you tap it. If you often open notes after school, the app opens faster at those hours. The system learns when to reduce background refresh so your battery lasts longer. It adjusts brightness not only based on lighting, but also based on your personal preference at different times of day. It's like your phone is slowly tuning itself to your lifestyle. The keyboard is smarter too. Instead of generic autocorrect, it adapts to how you speak. If you type casually, it suggests casual responses. If you use emojis often, it learns which ones you prefer. If you use short phrases, the keyboard learns your style. It becomes a reflection of you over time instead of forcing you to adapt to it. Samsung Internet also feels faster and more prepared. One UI 8.5 preloads the websites you visit regularly, making them open instantly. The new reader view removes clutter from long articles, and the built-in AI summarizer can turn huge paragraphs into quick highlights, perfect for students, readers, and busy users. Everything flows around the idea of saving your time without sacrificing experience, and this is only the beginning. One UI 8.5 is layered so deeply with new intelligence, polished animations, comfort-focused design, and everyday usability improvements that even using it for an hour feels like your phone has become more predictable, more expressive, and more connected to how you think. When you start using One UI 8.5, the first thing you feel is smoothness, not the normal smoothness, not the 120 Hz animation smooth, something different, something that makes you stop for a second and think, wait, did it just respond before I touched it? That's because Samsung has finally reworked the animation engine. Everything now flows like liquid, opening apps, switching apps, pulling down the notification shade. Even the keyboard popping up feels lighter, quicker, almost like it's reading your gesture in advance. It's not just speed, it's response. That's the magic of 8.5, and then comes the home screen. At first glance, it looks familiar, but as soon as you start moving widgets around, resizing them, pinching, expanding, you notice how the entire UI now feels layered, almost alive. Every movement has depth. Every shadow is dynamic, and every highlight reacts to your touch. Samsung didn't call these micro animations a new feature, but they changed the whole feel of the device. You don't see these details in ads, you feel them. One UI 8.5 also focuses heavily on intelligence. When you use your phone at night, it reduces blue spikes automatically, but now it takes into account your eye's comfort, your room brightness, and even how long you've been staring at the screen. When you wake up early in the morning, instead of blasting you with a bright screen, it fades in slowly, like sunlight entering your room, gentle and controlled. And then there's smart suggestions to .0. Bro. This thing is wild. It watches how you use your phone, not in a creepy way, but in a genuinely helpful assistant kind of way. If you always open WhatsApp after your alarm, the shortcut automatically appears. If you always take photos at sunset, it'll boost camera readiness around that time. If you always use Maps when you enter your car, boom, Maps shortcut shows up instantly. The phone feels like a companion that actually learns your behavior. Then comes battery intelligence. One UI 8.5 doesn't just save battery, it predicts your battery usage. If it sees your day is going to be heavier than usual, it subtly adjusts background usage, holds unnecessary processes, and prioritizes your most used apps. It's almost like your phone is protecting itself from you. Charging is also smarter. If you plug your phone in before sleeping, it charges to 80% fast, pauses, and completes the last 20% slowly right before your alarm, keeping your battery healthy for years. Now let's talk about the control center and quick panel. Because One UI 8.5 made them look like something straight out of a futuristic OS, the blur effect is cleaner. Icons are crisp, and everything is placed within comfortable thumb reach. The brightness slider now adjusts subtle color temperature in real time. It feels like handling a premium dashboard of a high-end device. The lock screen customization got a complete upgrade too. You can finally stack widgets, add layered wallpapers, animate your ad, and even sync colors with your current theme in a way that feels intentional. Your lock screen becomes a story, not just a page you swipe away. Speaking of wallpapers, One UI 8.5 introduces AI-powered wallpapers that adapt to your environment. If your room is dim, colors soften. If you're outdoors, saturation increases slightly to remain visible. It's small things like these that make the entire OS feel living. Now let's talk about multitasking, because Samsung has completely changed the game. The new split-screen gestures are way more fluid. You drag, drop, resize, and move apps around like playing Tetris. but everything is buttery smooth. Pop-up view is also cleaner, and windows snap perfectly like they belong there. You can create multitasking presets, like YouTube plus Notes or Maps plus Spotify, and open them with one tap. For students, creators, and professionals, this changes everything. Your phone becomes a mini computer. No exaggeration. And when you connect it to an external monitor, the new DeX animation, icons, and UI polish make it feel like a desktop. OS.1 UI 8.5 also improves privacy and security. You get instant alerts if any app uses your mic or camera. You can block tracking across apps. You can control what data each app collects. And the new emergency protection feature instantly locks down location, apps, and sensitive info with one tap. It's peace of mind in UI form. Then we reach the camera app. Not a big redesign, but a big improvement. Buttons respond quicker. Switching lenses is faster. The preview refresh rate remains high even in low light. It feels like Samsung finally optimized the camera app to match its hardware without lag or delay. And finally, the vibes of One UI 8.5. Everything is rounded, soft, warm, and comforting. It feels premium without showing off. It feels modern without trying too hard. It feels personal without being complicated. It feels like Samsung found the perfect balance between design, speed, and intelligence. This is the part of One UI that people don't talk about enough: the emotion, the feel, the comfort. When you use One UI 8.5, your phone stops being a tool and becomes a place. A digital home, a world that welcomes you every time you unlock the screen. The deeper you go into One UI 8.5, the more you realize that Samsung didn't just build an update. They built an environment. It's like they sat down and said, how do we make the phone feel like it belongs to this person? And then they engineered every corner of the interface to respond to you, adjust to you, and adapt around you. When you move through the phone, there's a strange feeling that everything has been placed exactly where it should be. Nothing extra, nothing missing, just a clean sense of balance that somehow makes everyday tasks feel lighter. As you explore it, you start noticing how every animation has weight. When a menu slides in, it slows down gently at the end, giving your eyes a moment to settle. When you open an app, the animation stretches subtly forward like it's welcoming you into the space. And when you close it, it folds back softly like the phone is carefully placing that app back on the shelf. These are tiny details, but when they all come together, the phone feels alive, not flashy, not aggressive, just quietly confident. The keyboard gets faster responses, and when you start typing, it feels like your fingers and the software are synced in perfect rhythm. It predicts your next words with better accuracy, rearranges the emoji line based on your mood, and even adjusts the suggestions depending on whether you're writing a formal message or chatting casually with your friend. You don't have to think, it just understands the vibe of the conversation and flows with you. Notifications, though. This is where Samsung did real magic. They've completely cleaned the structure. Instead of throwing a messy list at you, One UI 8.5 groups them with soft separators, subtle shadows, and smoother interactions. When you swipe a notification away, it glides like it's floating on water. When you expand a message thread from the panel, it opens instantly without blocking your whole screen. And the new quick replies feel more natural. They appear like part of the conversation, not like a box popping up out of nowhere. But the biggest improvement is how the system handles background intelligence. Apps now sleep smarter and wake smarter. If you're not using something, the system quietly freezes it in the background without killing important tasks. So your battery lasts longer not because the phone is limiting you, but because it's protecting your usage. And when you open that app again, it resumes instantly, no reload, no delay, just smooth continuity like the app was waiting for you. Themes and colors get even deeper. Material You was just the start. One UI 8.5 takes it further by mixing Samsung's design identity with your wallpaper's mood. If your wallpaper is bright, the UI gently tones down. If your wallpaper is dark and moody, the UI adds highlights so elements don't disappear. It doesn't just follow colors, it follows emotion. Even widgets adapt their shape and style, making your home screen feel like a clean, curated workspace instead of a crowded mess. Samsung also made the overall touch feel more accurate. When you scroll through social media or a web page, the motion physics feel real. It slows down naturally when you flick lightly, speeds up when you swipe fast, and settles with a subtle bounce that makes the UI feel dynamic. You don't notice these things consciously, but your brain recognizes the difference. It feels easier, more satisfying, more right, and then there's the AI assistants baked inside every corner. When you start editing photos, the phone gives suggestions that actually make sense: clean highlights, balance shadows, remove reflections, improve clarity. When you watch videos, the system automatically adjusts color profiles for your environment. When you read long text, the phone detects your reading pattern and keeps the screen awake without needing constant taps. Everything becomes intuitive in a way that feels almost invisible. Samsung Health, Calendar, and Notes also get deeper system integration. If you add reminders, they surface intelligently. If you schedule tasks, the widget adjusts its size to highlight what's important. Notes sync with Edge panels more quickly, and Samsung Health keeps adjusting your stress and sleep data to give you better suggestions. It's like every default app learned how to work together in a smarter ecosystem. And don't even get started on the new camera UI refinements. When you switch to different modes, the phone subtly changes color temperatures, the viewfinder matches real life more accurately. Zooming is smoother, lens switching is instant, and image previews load more naturally. You feel the camera responding, understanding light, adjusting noise, not just processing photos, but interpreting scenes. The gallery gets cleaner transitions and faster rendering, making the whole photography experience feel premium. But what truly seals the experience is how personal everything feels. The update doesn't force features on you. It quietly unlocks them, lets you discover them at your own pace, and gradually shapes itself around how you use your phone. One UI 8.5 doesn't want to impress you with flashy gimmicks. It wants to stay out of your way, keep everything within reach, and make your day feel easier without you even noticing how much it's helping. Every scroll, every tap, every swipe, every animation, everything in one UI 8.5 blends into each other like it's choreographed. It doesn't fight for your attention. It complements your rhythm. And that is what makes One UI 8.5 feel not just like an update, but like a whole new experience, a polished, soft, intelligent layer that transforms your phone into a space that feels organized, welcoming, and completely yours.
you.